Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at BABA, Wynn, and Aapl. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. Go to our website, sign up for the free membership for more videos like this, email alerts to our trade ideas and our live streaming sessions, usually a half hour before we go live. Some trade ideas, a little bit of education, and a lot of fun. So sign up, StockBookie.com. It's free. What do you have to lose? All right, let's look at the daily on BABA. And today we had a nice little breakout day today. A little bit of volume, you have to respect that, but we're right back into the 11 and 1169 high pivot and a small gap fill right here. We still have some resistance at 115.07. Let's see how this thing reacts tomorrow. I want to see another nice push up into this area. If it does, then we're probably going to 115. And the all-time high, which is right around 120 or so. We'll go to the bigger time frame to show you that. But again, with BABA, I don't like the fact that we're just floating up, floating up, floating up. Maybe some news upgrade today or something happened today with this one. And boom, right through this area because it's been having problems getting through the 109.73, 110 area. And they had to push it up somehow, somewhere. So I'm sure they got an upgrade, news, something today, or just, hey, you know what? We're tired of waiting. Let's get this thing going. So 111.69 is the gap fill. It pretty much closed right on the penny, right on that gap. So let's see what this thing does tomorrow. On the weekly chart, though, this is the one we're following a little bit closer. I don't care where it closes. If it closes up here on the weekly, that's fine. The following week, it has to start taking off. This pattern here is a little bit of suspect. I'd rather have it gone down on a wedge, hit this, and then take off. This is just floating on light volume, guys. Look where the volume is going today. This is the weekly. So these 2 days weren't bad when they were pushing it, but we got one more push past the 110. Let's keep an eye on this one. Again, if it closes up here the following week, it needs to go a little bit further. And if you pull this out here, here's your, it goes up here, pulls back, retraces back to this area where the gap is, and then comes back down. You have a lot of people stuck up in here. So when this thing gets to this area, the people that were stuck up here a year and a half, 2 years earlier, they become sellers. So you need a lot of buyers in here that can push this up. You might be having a short squeeze going on right here as well, but you got to respect it no matter what. It is starting to break out. I want to see this week and next week what it does. If it closes up here, I want to see the following week come through. If it doesn't, I think this one's going to turn and come right back in. You are starting to get stretched here on the weekly. You are stretched on the monthly. You have to respect that as a chartist. Once it gets too far from the 20 MA, it's bound to come back in. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 months up into this big pivot right here. Let's see if this thing can actually get through this pivot with some volume, not the light volume crack that we've been having on the, light volume float with the SPY. I want to see more conviction to this move here. You did have pretty good volume, like I said today. Let's see if it gets consistent and it pushes right through here, or does it click, come right back in, and go from there. So again, nothing to do on here. If you are long, tighten up the stops and just trail this thing as it goes. If you are short this one, you know what, 115, I wouldn't rule it out. Just make sure you don't have a huge position where you're getting your butt kicked. Just have a position where you can handle the, if it goes up another $5 on you, and maybe 120 at the most possibly. But again, got to see more evidence as another push through. Tomorrow I'd like to see some follow through. If we get a nice reversal, then this one could be close to being done. Again, nothing to do here. If you're long, tighten up the stops. If you're short, just give it a little breather here, let it push up. If you have room to add, you can add a little bit more up here on top the short. That's what I would be doing. Let's go to Wynn. Wynn, this one's just been doing the same thing, guys. Popped up, chopping, chopping, chopping. My line in the sand's 117.40 in this high pivot here. If you want a short win up here, I have no problem with doing that. Just use 120 to 122 as a stop out. So when you take this trade, just don't overdo it. I mean, take a half position, stop out at 130. Take a full position, stop out at 125, 126 or so. You can easily go another $10 on this before you stop out, even with a full position. So again, nothing wrong though. Still chopping around above the MAs on the daily. Let's go to the weekly chart. Weekly chart, same thing, stopping at the 117.40. That's a big area, guys. Let's see if it stops, comes right back in, or, honestly, it could go to 131 if this thing keeps going and the market stay buoyant, so you couldn't rule that out. If it doesn't make it here, it starts coming right back in, then you're probably looking at $100, maybe even 95. You got a gap fill down here. So either way, 131, or you're going to come to 97. Still trying to give us a pattern. On the weekly, it's really not showing us anything other than a little bit red spinner up there. But the daily chart, a little more bullish. You are above the MAs, but if these bullish patterns starts to fail, this thing's going to be coming down. I'm telling you, fill the gap right here around 95 bucks. And then you got a gap here, gap there, a couple other ones. But one step at a time. Let's see if we could get down here below the 50 M or the 20 MA, 50 MA, then possibly come here and kiss this one. If you are bullish, you need to get above this pivot high right around 119.80. You get above that, then you got to go through 120, and then this one could start marching on. Again, small positions, guys. No more than 10% of your total portfolio in any position. If you're doing options, make sure you're doing 1 to 3% at the most. If you have a $100,000 account, 10,000 is your max. Option, it's 1 to 3,000 is your max. I would tend to go to the 1,000 or 2,000 side if you're doing options, just to keep it simple and have room to always add in these markets, because these markets are popping up and down for no reason other than news, guys. So a little bit hard to control. Monthly chart on Wynn, same thing. Down, sideways. This is still bearish here. Still popping up. You still could possibly get to the 131, 132. There will be a brick wall at that resistance if we get up in there. So make sure if you do short this, make sure you do have some left just in case if it pops up a little bit higher. Again, this one's just kind of has a mind of its own. Has a pretty nice consolidation here, but again, needs to continue through with these pop-ups, and that's what we're not getting here. So you got to keep an eye on that, especially on the weekly. On the weekly, I want to see it close up here, not down in here. If it closes back down below, gets inside this green candle here, that's a little bit weak. I'd expect lower prices. So let's see what this gives us on the weekly, and we'll take it from there. So Friday's close, we'll see where it closes, and then we'll reevaluate on Wynn. Apple. Apple, you know what? Hats off to it, guys. Had earnings, they're hyping the iPhone 8, they're doing this, doing that. We had a little bit of a tail on the weekly yesterday. Nothing great, nothing bad. You got to respect it, though, especially at the highs. Let's see if this can continue sideways in the weekly. Let this 20 MA curl up in the price, and then probably higher prices. I wouldn't doubt this thing sits all the way up into earnings. This comes up into earnings, and then there it goes, pop up or drop down, one or the other. It's a 50-50 shot into earnings. But right now, it's really not telling us too much on the weekly. A little bit extended. That's what I would know. That's what I would tell you first, even from the 50 MA. If you go to the monthly chart too, getting a little extended. You are above this high though, and it did close, so that's a little bit bullish on this one, but you are extended. I would expect a pullback at least, and then maybe the next thrust up into earnings. On the daily chart for Apple, again, you had a little bit of a tail, 3-4 days ago, actually 4 days ago. You got to respect that. If you want to take this one short, you get above this high tail. I would probably go 147, 148. I mean, well, at this point, I'd probably just go 151, 152. Just give yourself a small enough position to where you can withstand a $10, $12 stop out. Even on this one, if you went 10% position, it'd still be a $14 stop above the 150. I wouldn't mind that. If you want to go half, you can even go further. Again, everything's about money management, guys. Finding good areas to go short or long. I don't care. Short or long, guys. Doesn't matter to me. Right now, I'm shorting a lot of different stocks because the markets are overextended. The SPX is just in fantasy land, and that's why we're going short. Mostly on the high flyers, just like the Teslas, the Apples, the Nvidias, the Googles. What else was high flying here? Netflix, Wynn, Costco was a high flyer. Priceline was a high flyer. Baba's getting there. There's a lot of these out there, guys. You just got to keep an eye on them. But, expecting the markets to pull back is one thing. But the high flyers, when they get way out of range, you know it's going to pull back. But since we're playing the monthly charts on a lot of these high flyers, you got to respect the time frame. Puts, a little bit tough. Got to do shares, just small size, just in case if it goes up on you. That's what we're working with at StockBookie.com. So, again, nothing wrong with Apple. Above all the MAs. Chopping around, but this thing's a little bit fading as the days go by off this tail. Let's see how it reacts to this 20 MA, or do we gap down and go, start heading down? Again, you have some resistance or support here, support there. You have some real good support right around the 137 or so, right at the 50 MA. So a lot of support coming down, a little bit of resistance going up. So next couple days will be big for this, or the next week. We'll see where this thing closes on a weekly basis as well. But again, all the ones I showed you today, the Baba, the Wynn, the Apples, nothing wrong with them. But if the markets come back, guys, you're going to look out. And I'll show you one more thing on the charts here. Let's go to the SPX. And this is the reason why I'm picking on these charts, guys. I'm picking on ones that are weak, because if you look at the monthly, on the SPX. I mean, this is just at the top again, just like we were here at the .com housing crash, and now we're up here, and they're telling everyone the same. Just like they were telling everyone here everything was great. Oh my gosh, the .com, and then we straight down. Right here, Ben Bernanke was telling everybody, oh, it's great, housing prices, nothing, we're great, GDP is great, we're right on track, right straight down. What do you think they're telling us here? Yellen's coming out with a lip service, telling everyone it's great, blah, 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 blah. Right now, we're short the markets, and we will be long when the time is right. If we come down into the 1800 area on the SPX, we might be going long. But again, we got to see how it comes right down into that area, if it comes blasting or if it kind of comes stair-stepping down to find good support for good bounces. And then, you know, buy the dip mentality comes right in. And hopefully we'll go with those guys this time, but only if this comes into good support after a nice sell-off. So that's the reason why we're going short on a lot of these high flyers, the Facebooks, the Amazons, and Netflixes. That's what we do here, guys. And again, when everyone's selling, everyone's going crazy, jumping off cliffs, we'll be stepping up to the plate and going long again. Right now, our bear costume, soon enough, hopefully, will be our bull costume. We'll ride it up, and then we'll put on our bear costume and ride it down again. We'll just go keep rinsing and repeating, guys, finding trades out there and making stuff happen. Again, if you like these videos, go to StockBookie.com, sign up for the free membership. You get videos like this, live streaming action, and a bunch of other stuff too. So thanks again for watching, everyone. God bless. See you on the charts.